Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Shark deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck is an extremely fun, super consistent XZ deck that can summon out all sorts of amazing boss monsters and make some really incredible end boards. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name in the description for every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Abyss Shark, which is one of the best cards in the entire deck. This card has a really awesome effect that if this card is used through an XZ summon of a number monster, it can be treated as a level 3 or 4 monster, making it super easy to make all sorts of different XZ plays with this card. This card also has an awesome effect that if all monsters you control are water monsters minimum 1, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, you get to add a level 3, 4, 5 fish monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card. But for the rest of the turn, you can't special summon monsters except water monsters, and also double the first damage your opponent would take this turn from a number monster battling another monster, which is an extremely powerful effect for this deck to have. We then play 2 copies of Crystal Shark. Crystal Shark is a really good 2-of in this particular build. They can also special summon itself to your side of the field and has the same effect just like your copy of Abyss Shark, that if this card is used for the XZ summon of a number monster, it can be treated as a level 3 or 4 monster. And if this card's in your hand or graveyard, then you can target a water monster on the field and special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field, and if you do, half that monster's attack points. Also, you can't special summon monsters from the X deck for the rest of the turn except XZ monsters, which is not that big of a deal because that's pretty much all we're summoning in this deck anyways. We're then playing 3 copies of Dream Shark. Dream Shark is a really good 3-of in this deck. It's kind of like a Cyber Dragon-ish card. It has the ability that the first time this card would be destroyed by battle, each turn it is not destroyed, and you can only use each of the following effects of this card once per turn. And if you control no monsters, or if all monsters you control are water monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand, making it a great starter for this deck. It also has the ability when a card or effect that would inflict damage to you is activated, when this card's in the graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card, and if you do, make that effect damage 0. And if summoned this way, it loses 1,000 defense points, but banish it when it leaves the field, which is not that big of a deal because it gives you a little bit of protection while also giving you a level 5 fish to be able to make some really cool XZ plays. We then play 3 copies of Buzzsaw Shark, which is the best normal summon in the entire deck that basically works like a tour guide, which is really cool. This card is absolutely a 3-of in the deck and one of the best cards in the entire build. We then play a single copy of Lantern Shark. Lantern Shark is a really good 1-of in the deck. If this card is normal or special summon, you can activate this effect that you can special summon a level 3, 4, 5 water monster from your hand and defense position, except another copy of this card. Also, you can't special summon monsters from the X deck for the rest of the turn except XZ monsters, which is a great effect just to get you an additional monster on your side of the field. We then play 2 copies of Silent Sea Nettles because it can special summon itself from your hand to your side of the field if you control a water monster, which is a really good effect, and it also has the ability that you can banish this card from the graveyard and target up to 3 water monsters in your graveyard and shuffle them back into the deck, which is great for recycling some of your cards. We then play 2 copies of Silent Angler because it can also special summon itself to your side of the field if you control a water monster, but for the rest of the turn you can't special summon monsters from your hand, which making this card a really good 2-of, but you only really need 2 of it in this particular build, with all the other monsters in this deck that can special summon themselves to your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Right Hand Shark. Right Hand Shark is a really good 1-of in the deck, as you can summon off your copy of Buzzsaw Shark, and it gives the monster that uses this card as a material a bonus effect. This card cannot be destroyed by battle when you use this card as a material, which is a pretty good effect. We then play 3 copies of DD Crow. DD Crow is a really good 3-of in the deck. Just to be able to banish cards from your opponent's graveyard is an awesome hand trap in this build. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is just a great extender in the deck to be able to bring back one of your monsters from the graveyard. We then play a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is a really good 1 in the deck to be able to stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. We then play a single copy of Instant Fusion and then 2 copies of Ready Fusion. These cards are in the deck for the exact same reason, but we play 2 and 1 in this particular deck because they are once per turn. turns. By paying 1,000 life points, you can special summon a fusion monster from your extract, which is always going to be your copies of either rare fish or your sea monster that you're going to summon off this card's effect, so that you can get an additional body on your side of the field, so you can go in for some extra deck plays by making XZ summons, either for a rank 5 or a rank 4 play, depending on the monster that you summon off these cards. We then play 2 copies of Pot of Desires. Pot of Desires is really good in the deck, so we're pretty much playing 3 of everything that we need in this particular deck, so it's not that big of a deal to banish 10 to draw 2, which is just really good in this particular build. We then play 2 copies of White Mirror. White Mirror is really cool in this particular deck, so it lets you target a level 4 or lower fish monster in your graveyard and special summon it, and then you get to add a monster from your deck to your hand with this same original name as that monster special summoned by this effect, which is a pretty good effect to combo with a bunch of different cards in this particular build, but I feel like 2 is totally fine for this deck. We then play 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. Foolish Burial Goods is a really awesome 3 on the deck to be able to send from your deck to the graveyard your copies of Ice Barrier so you can search from the deck. So this card is basically a Rhoda for this build. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Ice Barrier. 2 is totally fine for this particular deck. This card is really good in this particular deck because it has the ability you can banish this card from your graveyard to send a level 5 or higher water monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then you can add a water monster from your graveyard to your hand, which is a great effect to be able to send any of our monsters that we need, like our copies of Abyss Shark, from deck to graveyard so that we can add them back to hand and use their awesome effects. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Impermanence is just a great hand trap overall in this particular deck to be able to use to stop your opponent's monster effects as a hand trap, while also being able to lock down spells and trap zones if we set this card to the field, which is really good. We then play 3 copies of Goes and Match. Goes and Match is an extremely powerful floodgate in the deck, especially combo with your copy of number 4, which basically makes it so neither player can control monsters except water monsters, which is really cool. I love the combo of those 2 cards together. It kind of reminds me of Rivalry of Warlords plus Zombie World, which is really awesome about this deck. But the card effect of Goes and Match is each player can only control 1 attribute of monster, and you send all their face-up monsters that they control to the graveyard, which is super cool, and your copy of number 4 turns every monster on the field into a water monster, making it so that if your opponent's not playing water, they can't summon monsters, which is really cool. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Bahamut Shark. Bahamut Shark is a really good 2 in this particular deck. Has the ability to detach a material from this card to special summon 1 rank 3 or lower water monster from your extra deck, which is always going to be your copies of Totally Awesome. The only downside of that is that your copy of Bahamut Shark cannot attack that turn. But Totally Awesome is basically a walking negate, which is when we're playing 2 copies of this card, and it's super easy to put on your side of the field with your copies of Bahamut Shark. We're then playing a single copy of number 4. Number 4 is really good in this deck because all face-up monsters on the field become water. And once per turn, during your main phase, quick effect, you can destroy 1 water monster your opponent controls, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack of that monster had on the field. And if this card is XZ summoned is destroyed, you can special summon it to 2 Stealth Kragens from your extract up to the number of materials this card had, and then attach 1 water monster from your graveyard to each of those special summon monsters as a material, which is a pretty good effect, but we actually don't even play the Stealth Kragens in this build. We're then playing a single copy of Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is really cool to be able to shut down your graveyard, or shut down the graveyard, which is just a really good effect. And while this card has XZ materials attached to it that are originally water, all water monsters that you control gain 500 attack, which is a great effect to be able to give us a little bit of a boost. We then play a single copy of a number 101. 101 is really good because you can detach the materials from this card to be able to target an opponent's monster that's in attack position that was special summoned and attached to this card as a material, which is a pretty good effect. We then play a single copy of C101, which we can actually special summon off the copy of our Nash Knight, which is pretty good effect and just a really good card. This card is overall a fantastic boss monster for the deck. We then play a single copy of Nash Knight. Nash Knight is really good because we can actually summon out the copy of CXZ Nash Knight with this card's ability, but it has the ability it cannot be destroyed by battle while a number monster is on the field. And during the main phase, quick effects, you can detach 2 materials in this card and attach 1 number monster from your extract to this card as a material that has a number between 101 and 107 in its name. Then you can attach 1 face-up monster on the field to this card as a material, which is a pretty good effect to be able to use on this card because you can actually attach your copy of number 101 to this card by that effect. We then play a single copy of CXZ Nash Knight. Nash Knight is really good in this deck because you can also XZ summon this card on top of a Nash Knight that you control, and transfer all materials from that card to this card. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects, and also the ability to detach a material from this card and then special summon from your extract 1 number XZ monster that has a number between 101 and 107 in its name, using this card you control as a material, but destroyed during your opponent's next end phase. And it is treated as an XZ summon, and you transfer all materials to that monster from this card, which is a great effect to be able to use to basically make your copy of Nash Knight, and then attach your copy of number 101 to your copy of Nash Knight by its effect, then make your copy of CXZ Nash Knight, and then use its ability to actually summon out your copy of C101 using that monster as a material, which is a really good effect to be able to get our boss monster, C101, on our side of the field. We then play a single copy of Valiant Shark Lancer. This card is a really good 1-of in the deck that's kind of like a Trident for the deck. It lets you target 1 monster your opponent controls and detach material in this card that you control, and if you do, destroy that monster. And it's a quick effect if you control another Water XZ monster, which we usually will when they activate that ability. We then play a single copy of Full Armored Crystal Zero Lancer. This card is basically like a Downer Magician for the deck. You can also XZ summon this card using a rank 5 Water XZ monster that you control as a material, and this card gains 500 attack for each XZ material attached to this card. And if this face-up card would be destroyed, you detach a material from this card instead, and once per turn you can detach an XZ material from this card, and all face-up monsters that your opponent control have their effects negated until the end of the turn, which is an extremely powerful effect. We then play a single copy of Double A Zeus because we can make it in the deck, and it's a really good board wipe for this particular build. Play a single copy of Rare Fish and a single copy of Sea Monster because they are both water monsters that we can summon off of Ready and Instant Fusion. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Shark before, I highly recommend it because it's just super fun to be able to play and summon out all sorts of really cool Water XZ monsters. It's a really consistent deck, and I'm really glad I got to show it to you guys. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of our notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.